Hey y'all! So today I decided that since I had mentioned my trip to New York in the last video, that I would show you a couple of more goodies that I picked up during my trip there. I'm gonna focus today on just the vintage stuff that I picked up because, again, I think vintage deserves its time in the spotlight, and I don't know, I don't get to find a whole lot of true vintage stuff all the time, but I do find that it resells pretty well because people are looking for those unique pieces. So I'll try to go through, maybe mention like some keywords and stuff that I think will work for these pieces and why I picked them up. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first piece that I picked up is this green beauty, actually. Here we go. It is a Petites for Maggie dress. Midi dress. Has a really nice like detail in the middle, this belt kind of detail. And then the top is loose and the bottom is loose. So I feel like this will look really beautiful on. I was thinking that this would be great for the wedding season that's coming up. There's also graduations and just a lot of spring events that you might want to dress up for. I bought this dress for $8 and I'm gonna try to resell it in the 35 range, but it's really beautiful. It has like a slight sheen to it. It's got two little buttons in the back, and it is a size 2. So maybe in the comments you guys can tell me as I go through which one is your favorite piece that I picked up. So this one I picked up, little jean number. Kind of like, if you look from the bottom, it's like not a pickup, not a pickup, not a pickup. Ooh, maybe a pickup. It's got a little bit of flair. And especially with July 4th coming up, I feel like this is something that I would wear to, have that little nod of patriotism without going over the top, because you don't want to go over the top these days. But yeah, I don't know. I like just like a little subtle leaning into the holiday trend without screaming in your face. So this is also vintage JG Hook Petites. It is a 4P. I might have many vices, but a major vice I have is that I'm very tiny. As I think I mentioned, my name of my business is Lil Gabs, and I do gravitate toward picking up the smaller pieces because that's what I'm used to putting on my own body. And so I see it and I'm like, oh, that will look cute. And then I remember that most people are not as tiny as I am. So it doesn't hold me back too much, but I have to kind of force myself to look in the larger sizes, which I do try to do. This is starting to go a little bigger. This is like a medium, also beautiful vintage dress. I used words, this is already listed actually. I used words like minimalist, old money, elegant. It's got these really beautiful kind of like pearl detail all the way down the front. And then what I love is it's got this like crisscross tie in the back. And so even though it doesn't have the size tag anymore, it's really like adjustable. So if someone's bigger, they can tie that looser. And if someone's smaller, they can tie it tighter. And it also can change with you through the seasons. So This was also Carolyn Bessette Kennedy is kind of trending on Poshmark, I saw, because of the Kennedy show, I think. So I used CBK in the description too, because this kind of reminded me of that like 90s minimalist elegance while still having a lot of style. Next, I'm gonna go into some bottoms. So that was the dresses that I picked up. Next, I have these kind of gaucho pants, and they're capris, but they kind of looks like a skirt, but it's pants, which if you're a girl in the summer is kind of ideal because you're not sitting on your bare butt, but you still have that flowy, airy, summery, pretty look. And it's got a very darling flower pattern. I always love, I think I gravitate a lot to things that have like a background of black and they're rooted, but then they have a lot of color as well. I love that so much. Has these fun vintage buttons. And, oh, the tag I think is what got me. Click, clack. You'll also know that it's vintage a lot of the time when the size tag or the style tag is on another little tag right there. They don't do that anymore. So I'd say this is a small, but I love that. I'm actually not really mentioning prices. Everything was, like I said in the last video, kind of like Goodwill prices at this place that I went. It was Urban Jungle in Brooklyn. It was like $6, between $6 to $10. Nothing was more than 10. Nothing was less than 6. But I just feel like for this video, I want to focus on more like why I picked up the style and what I like about it. And then mostly everything I'm going to resell in the like 25 to 35 range. But you guys tell me if you think I'm way off or if I made a huge mistake. Like I said, a lot of this for me is just the fun of finding cute fashion and saving the vintage pieces and hopefully finding great new homes for them. So, continuing on, this skirt was a showstopper. I think, it's going to take someone particular and brave and bold to wear it, to rock it. But I definitely find that there's a group of people that look for these 70s, 60s inspired, or this isn't even inspired. I think this is a true 60s, 70s piece. It's looks to be handmade because there's no tags. It's got this really sweet pink button, this vintage zipper. You can tell just by like the zipper that it's probably older. I find that the zippers have this like certain thinness when they're vintage. But I don't know, like it could be factory made because it has certain pieces of it that look a little more manufactured, but I would say this is just made by like by a skilled sewer. Either way, I loved it. And the best part is that it has pockets. Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, next I'm gonna go into some of the men's stuff that I picked up. I do love a good graphic tee or crew neck. Sometimes I like looking at the men's pants too. I think that's my problem a little bit at the moment, like narrowing down my focus more than broadening it. Obviously, I'm narrowing in on vintage, and I actually put into ChatGPT today some of my photos from my Depop and asked it to give me feedback on what my aesthetic was. And it said it was like curated vintage with a touch of randomness. And I was like, And that's exactly my problem. I want to maybe more curated vintage, less randomness. So it is what it is though. So for men's tops, I found this awesome 90s Cowboys tee, XL, single stitch. And I just like love the font. I think that I would wear this even though I don't know anything about sports. It's a Nutmeg Mills. I like the sewed on manufacturer tag. And then on the back is Aikman 8. Funnily enough, my favorite number and my lucky number is also 8. So if this doesn't sell, I will keep it. Although I listed it and it's already getting a lot of views and likes and traction. So unfortunately, I'll probably have to say goodbye to it. The next shirt that I picked up is this museum shirt. Jacksonville Art Museum for the Egyptian Ramses show. I liked the graphic. I feel like you could wear it if like you're into art, but it also just kind of looks badass. So that was one actually that my husband picked up, and I agreed. That I tend to disagree, but that one I agreed. This is actually could be like either a men's or women's shirt. I think it is a men's button-up, but it's really, really beautifully light. It feels like barely air. It is BM Company with Liberty Graphics, and I picked it up for $6. But at least in Maine, Liberty Graphics is really, really popular, and things that are made with textile design or graphics from them like just sell super quick. But I thought this was perfect for summer, and I knew that had to come home with me. I might put that in the vintage booth because, like I said, we have a really big local following for Liberty Graphics. So next, a little wild card. I got a vintage one-piece bathing suit, and I just love this like dreamy swarm of colors. The inside is interesting. I mean, I think it does still have some life in it, but I don't know if I would do like hardcore swimming. I think it's more of like just a sunbathing piece. But it's got a really, really sweet tie. And I did try it on because I thought maybe for myself, but I think that requires someone to fill out the bust just a little bit more than I can. So hopefully someone will love it as much as I do. We're gonna go into pants, which pants probably don't sell quite as well as tops. However, I find that if you find like the right fit and maker and style, they still do very well. So, needless to say, I don't discriminate. So, as we know, jorts have been big. I think it's just because like people don't want to wear short things. Like they don't want their bum hanging out. So these jorts are Lee dungarees. Unfortunately, they don't have their size tag, but what I liked about them was they just had this like perfect kind of fraying at the bottom. They're worn in, like the wash is so good. They're soft and broken in. And I feel like they could work on either a guy or a girl and be just as cool. So I also kind of liked on the inside of the pocket. Like these are things that I just geek out about. Like on the inside, it says Buddy Lee approved, and there's like a creepy little baby on it. No one's gonna see that except for the person who owns these, but it makes me happy. These are a made in the USA, like short, colorful cotton short. This was one that my sister and husband were kind of like, I don't know. But I literally picked up just because like the tag is so cool. Vintage. The colors are still so bright. And I just feel like for summer, for the beach, like, yes. Yes. However, these shorts got a resounding yes from everyone. They're from Paradise Found, Hawaii. And they have like a tiny bit more modern of a feel. But it says Hawaii, aloha, cruisin'. And they are still definitely vintage. Like on the inside, you could see the lining. And then when I looked up Paradise Found, it's like a 90s brand. So I think those are very fun. These are kind of like a Girl Scout, Boy Scout short. Not quite short shorts, but that nice length above the knee still. They are Green Acres. I loved that sew-on patch there on the back, and it just has some really cool details, like these side kind of cinching details. I try these on, and if no one picks them up, I will definitely happily keep them because they are so cute. And they just have a really awesome, like, cotton feel. The zipper says Venus. I always like when the zipper is, like, something unique. So I want to do more research on these and figure out, like, what the origin is and story behind them. These are dead stock. Optimistic shorts. Sometimes I do pick things up just because I love the tag. I mean, I think the design and the length is also really cool and different and kind of the past, but also of the time. But the tag says optimistic, adjective, expect the best possible, medium. Like, what a good message. And that's something that can, like, probably belong to a grandma, but on a 21-year-old will also look just as cool. So we'll see who ends up with it. These are, you know, just look like a basic classic jean. But then you look on the inside and they are vintage Gap. And that is like super in right now. Just that classic straight leg, you know, timeless CBK I mentioned earlier look, you know. So I thought these were kind of special. And lastly, I do delve into kids vintage too. I always try to keep my eye out, and I find that when I pick something cool up for kids, like, it will usually get snapped up very quickly. People definitely shop more emotionally for children than they do for themselves. And these are tiny but very adorable corduroys. They, I believe, are German because the tag says 100% Baumwolle, which I think is 100% cotton in German. They have this, I have a very awesome pair of vintage pants, and they have the same exact button. And so when I saw that button, I was like, ooh, those are interesting. But they have like a perfect amount of flare. And these are just hopefully waiting for the most awesome little kid to rock them. All right, guys, let me know. What was your favorite piece? Do you think I should go to New York again for another hunt and sourcing trip? And what else should I look for? I'm a new channel. Give me a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. It kind of gives me the confidence to keep going. I really want to be like a source for vintage information and inspiration for the reseller community, or anyone who just loves thrifting. So that's all for now. Have a good day. Mwah. One last little bonus, if you're interested. I picked up 2 things for myself. So I picked up this sweater. I love blue. I think it's because my eyes. I just tend to gravitate toward that color. And I think it complements my skin. If anyone knows what season I am, let me know. But this kind of looks like just like a basic mohair sweater, which, you know, to start is already good stuff. But what I loved is that it has like just a tiny bit of a bell sleeve, and it has this gorgeous kind of change of color. And then I paired it with this skirt that I found. So this was the second item I got. Is this like midi, kind of more tropical vibes skirt. And here in Maine, it tends to just stay cold for a lot longer. So it's not unusual to keep wearing sweaters into spring and sometimes like, well, totally also summer evenings. So I thought this was a nice mix of like summer vibes plus northern climate vibes. And yeah, so I always like to see how people style themselves too. If you need help styling or want any styling advice, hit me up, and see you next time.